Hello, everybody. How y'all doing today? Hi, Kelly.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you all.
Day number 7. This is it. We did it. We made it to the end.
You all made it. Absolutely amazing job, everyone who has been here, even if not all 7 days, many of the days. You're truly our heroes.
No kidding. You put a lot of effort in, especially if you did all 7 days and all 7 days worth of homework, or the seventh day worth of homework is still coming. We're going to share that with you today. But the homework's not done, but this is going to be the last of the webinars. We've decided that this 7-day challenge, we're going to take all the videos and the homework and everything and put it into the membership so that anyone who signs up for the membership will also get access to all 7 days of the challenge. And everyone who's already a member will get access to all 7 days of the challenge. So we thought that so many people were asking, how can I keep seeing it and do it? So we wanted to do that for you. And also we did a little quiz, like you guys all are answering as you're coming in, and I want to share the results of the quiz with you all. So it looks like a lot of you want to learn about book proposals and finding an agent or a publisher with your book proposal. It just so happens that tomorrow, Kelly and I are doing a workshop for the members of the writers community all about book proposals, and we didn't even plan this. In fact, we just planned the quiz this morning of what to ask you.
How that happened. It was such good timing.
I know. So we got the answer. So any of you that are looking for a little extra information about agents or publishers or book proposals, we're going to be doing that tomorrow at noon for all the members. And then also for all the members, we're doing a special webinar on August 12th. And it's just for the new members. So you're going to not, all the members are going to be tired of us by the end of August. And then we have another webinar August 27th for the members too. So 3 more are coming your way if you become a member. You'll get to see Kelly's smiling face 3 more times in August. And then a bunch of you on the quiz look like you wanted to learn how to write a memoir. Some of you are interested in the hook, the cover, and the title. So we did that because we're thinking of what we're going to do next. Are we going to do another challenge? Seems like there's a lot of interest in it, so we'll keep you all updated on what we're doing. I wanted to get started before, as we're going here, with a little story for you all. So yesterday, our editorial department had gone through all the book proposals that had come in for one of our writers workshop online courses. They get submit a book proposal to be a Hay House author, just like all the people doing the annual membership. And so we got all the book proposals, and we have a group of people in our editorial department that goes through all the book proposals, and then they vote on it. Basically, they pick the ones they like, and there's like a group of our whole editorial team, because a lot of them come in and they go through, and then they say, okay, these are my top ones, and they all read the top 10, let's say, and then they vote, and the unanimous winner of the vote was Tamar Watts. And yesterday I called her to say, look, you're a winner of the writer's workshop. And the name of her book is Keep Looking Up, Your Guide to the Powerful Healing of Bird Watching. And when I first heard that, I'm like, man, I don't know, like we're doing a book about bird watching. Like, what the heck's going on? I'm not too sure about this. It's unique. Like, we don't have any other books about bird watching. But then I found out like it was a unanimous choice. Every one of the editors picked that one, and that never happens, by the way, like ever. Usually there's always 5 like this one, 3 like that one, 2 like this one. And she came to the Hay House Writers Workshop in Houston live. Then she joined the Hay House Writers online workshop where there's even more information. And then when we launched the membership, she joined the membership too. So she got a lot of information, which I think is important. She also worked with KN Literary, Kelly's company, to help with the book proposal as well. And our editorial team was super impressed with the book proposal. So you're going to get good tips, all you people that become members tomorrow. And we do have a whole section in the membership on writing a book proposal and that sort of thing. And Kelly and I have been talking about book proposals a long time at the live events. We love doing it, and we try to give you as many insights as you can as we're going through. But then, so I call her, she's thrilled, she's so excited, she can barely even talk. In fact, she just connected with Anna, who's like helps run the membership and connects with all the members, and said, oh, I think I was so excited I forgot to thank Reed for even letting me win. And she got a $10,000 advance that she's going to get, and an official contract. And she was saying, like, you know, I didn't really have enough money to get the whole book edited from KN Literary. I said, now you don't have to worry, because you're going to have a whole team of editors here at Hay House. In fact, one of our top editors volunteered, because she loves the topic of bird watching, to be her editor, Lisa. And so, but all that's amazing and unbelievable. But then I pick up the Wall Street Journal, and there's a whole article in the Wall Street Journal about bird watching. And it's all about, for solace, look to the birds. I'm like, oh my God, if that isn't a sign, like, you know, Wayne and Louise are up there going, watch this, you know, like, we're going to blow this guy away. And then on top of it, we get this. So I think we picked the right winner, or something tells me, like, with all that. And yeah, it's an amazing story. It's incredible. But we're all looking forward to you guys submitting your book proposals. We're going to teach you how to do it in the membership and all the other things we do. And I can't wait to be able to call one of you to be a winner. So I just had to share that story to get started.
A good story, and such a good way. Again, the fact that this is somebody who has taken the time to learn all the different processes that are important. You know, all of you who've been here for these 7 days, wow, you all are way ahead of the game by a lot from most people. But going into the membership, going to the writers' workshops, continuing your own education is going to be huge. You're never learn everything. That's one of the reasons why I'm really excited that the 7-day challenge is going to be available to members, because even though many of you attended all 7 days, which seriously, high five for me, that's an amazing commitment. You haven't heard everything, because we can't take in all that information. I've seen in some of the comments people feeling like, whoa, information overload. You know, I kind of got, as I'm full, I can't take any more in, which is why I love the fact that this is all going to be available to you in the membership. And of course, from there on, you also have all the other content that we have created for you and that we continue to bring you every month, you know, the new Q&As and the new clinics that we do. So just know that if you do continue this process of what you want is to have a book in your hand, we are doing everything we can to make sure you know the same things that Tama knew, that she knew what the book proposal was supposed to be like. She knew how she was supposed to position herself. She knew how to set herself up well. So we know she knows how to build a platform, even if she hasn't built one yet. So all of that is going to be available to you. And I encourage you to continue your own personal education on this journey, because again, we talk about this all the time. Reed, you said something early, you know, maybe on the first or second day, that so often authors come to us and they think that they should already know how to write a book. And it's like, would you know how to build a house? Would you know how to paint an oil painting? No, you need to learn, you need to train. And so that's what we hope that this 7 days has been for you, is sort of a taste of what training is available out there. And of course, we would love it if you wanted to train with us and join the membership, but there's many other different places out there where you can get information.
Yeah, and another insight that Tamal had that I thought was really interesting. So I said, you know, it's amazing that you did all this training and all the different things. And I said, what like had the biggest impact for you in this success that you've had? And she said it was at the writers workshop in Houston. And she had come to the writers workshop and she was super excited. She was going to write a children's book about a trip that she had taken to Cuba a couple years before. And she had this whole idea and she just knew she was going to make tons of money from it. And it was an amazing idea and she was going to really make it a success. And she said that when I was giving my talk at the writer's workshop, that I said, look, you know, a lot of you people are asking questions like, how do I make lots of money and which book should I do? And I said, look, the thing that you should do is follow your passion, the thing that you're most passionate about, the thing that you love the most is going to be the thing you're most successful at as an author, because it's going to come through when you're talking about it. Like, hopefully you see the excitement of that we have, that Kelly and I have to teach this all to you. And you need to have that excitement as an author to teach what you're trying to do. Like if you're just doing it to try to make a lot of money, you're probably not going to be
There are
nearly as successful.
better ways to make a lot of money than writing a book.
Right. And so she said, like, that had a huge impact. So it was right before lunch. We took lunch and she went out and she said, look, what am I so passionate about? And she thought, the thing I'm most passionate about in the whole world is watching birds. Like, that's the thing I want to do. That's the thing I want to teach other people. And not just that you get a look at them, but the impact it can have on you and your life. And then she just sat down and started writing, and that night and everything started flowing for her. And then the months ahead, it all came out like the way it was supposed to. She was able to do the book proposal. Everything was incredible because she started following her passion. And so I think that's an amazing insight for all of you too. So following your passion is the key. Writing a great book is the key. And I know I always say that and people go, no kidding, everyone knows that, but really they don't know it, how important it is. Like even the books we do at Hay House, this drives my editors insane. But before we start doing promotions and we do these special like $1.99 ebook promotions that help beginning authors get started, and we go into all that in the membership, and that's a whole nother conversation. That's hours of teaching there. But what it does is help people put the book in your hand. It eliminates an excuse, because one of the excuses people use not to buy books is that they cost too much. And so if you eliminate that excuse, if they read the book, will they tell their friend? Because remember, we said the most important thing is word of mouth for your book. And the book has to be well written to be word of mouth. You've heard Kelly say it every day for 7 days. But it drives them crazy because I go, look, is the book good? Like, because we can do all the promoting in the world, but if the book isn't good, and unfortunately every single book we do here at Hay House isn't even good, even all the effort we put in. Like most of them are, hopefully 90%, but some of them are better than others, let's say. And it's important that you write a great book to get the whole thing started, that you put that effort in, and that's what's going to separate you from so many other people. So many people aren't putting the effort in. They're not, trying to learn all the different ways they can on how to be a good author. They're not learning what it takes to be a successful author, just putting their stuff down, sticking it out, and hoping some miracle happens. And miracles happen, but they don't always happen if the product's no good. So that's at least something to think about. And I think we're going to put up one more time the writers community, like the 4 pathways. I'm going to let Kelly talk a little bit about it. I talked a little bit about it yesterday, but I just wanted her to share her insights into that.
So again, this is something that Reed and I have really worked on very hard. After so many years of working with authors, we really asked ourselves, what is necessary for an author to have the success that they're looking for? And we wanted to start with for people who either have not really been writers or don't really know what they're writing about, or people who think that they know what they're writing about, but they just feel the sense of a lack of confidence, a feeling of, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if my book idea is good enough. So the whole first pathway is just building a foundation for you around your own belief in yourself, belief in what it is that you're writing about, the practice aspect. Again, one of the things that's really difficult about writing is that it requires you to show up over and over and over again. As Reed said, I think on the first day, many authors have a misconception that what they need is a week or a month to just go into a cabin somewhere in the woods and they will get their book written. That's simply not true. Most books are written a little bit at a time every day of the year, truly. 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there, 30 minutes there. So that's what the first pathway is about, is getting you into the habit of writing and giving you small assignments that are not going to challenge you. I actually was reading the comments before we went live today, and I saw a really funny comment where someone said, you know, does anyone else have this experience where when they're just writing, it's fine and it's easy and it flows, but when you sit down to write your book, suddenly it's really hard and things are stilted and awkward. I am sure whoever wrote that comment, and I actually saw people saying yes, 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 but everyone has that experience. And it's something I've been talking about, this sense of overwhelm of, I need to write my book. What I write right now has to be perfect. It has to be better than anything I've ever written before because I want it to go further than it's ever gone before. And the fact is that until you get into the process where writing is just an everyday thing and you're writing a little bit about an idea that might go in your book, a little bit about an idea that you probably won't put in your book, that is the most important part of that journey, is just getting to the point where it's a habit and it's easy to say yes to sitting down and writing. So that's the whole first pathway. And we talk to people about how Reed was saying you can bump between the different pathways. And so sometimes people who already are well underway with writing their book, or they definitely have their idea and they're working on their outline, they actually decide to go back and do some of the lessons from pathway one again, because that's a place where they can return to that sense of confidence, to that sense of, I do know what I'm doing. I know how to get there. That's the feeling that I want you to have, because the opposite of that is overwhelm and I don't know if I can do this and I feel frozen and paralyzed. And that's what keeps too many great books from making it to the shelf. You know, what we have is some wisdom. And if you're here, it's because life is saying to you, you need to get that wisdom out of you. How you do it, how you organize it, whether you tell your story or you do it as teaching, all of that will come over the course of time, as long as you stay in the seat of being a writer. And that's what we want for you. And that's why we created the membership, to keep you in that seat and to be there with you so you don't have to be there by yourself. Both Reed and I are there, but also you've seen a taste of it here with all the amazing people supporting each other in the comments and here on the actual live webinars. All of that is happening 24 hours a day in the membership. And it's a really wonderful place to go get inspired and supported by people who are on the same path that you are.
Yeah, for sure. And we do have a private Facebook group in the membership too that includes everyone in the membership and everybody who's attended a live workshop or bought the online course, those kind of things. So they're all in there together, supporting each other in the membership itself, supporting each other. And there's a couple thousand people in there. So there's always someone there kind of going through what you're going through. So you're never alone. Whereas in your town or on your block, everyone might not be writing a book, but definitely at the Hay House community, they're all writing a book or they're going to be writing a book. And then hopefully the schedule of this 7 days in a row, connecting about writing, helps you get in the habit of continuing to write as this goes forward, no matter what, on your own, doing it, getting it out there. Another thing that I want to share with you all is just the fact of getting the book done now. It's never too late to get it done. Like Louise Hay started Hay House when she's 60 years old. And so that's there, you can totally start at any time, and she wrote her last book when she was 90, so there's plenty of time in there to get the books done, and they were super successful. So it's not like you have to be 20, 30, or even 40 or 50. You can start in your 60s or 70s, but it's not bad to start a little earlier and not procrastinate with your book. If you've been procrastinating, come and let us help you get the book done. And if you haven't been, don't. Let's get the book done. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Don't do all those things that so many people do. Like you, I saw in the comments and we heard questions like 5 years, 7 years, 20 years, 30 years. And that's every single time we do this, it's the same thing. And we don't want you to have to wait that long. We want you to get going now. So continue on making that writing schedule, continue on with your education. And maybe it's just, you get Kelly's book, The Book You Were Born to Write. Like that might be the thing that keeps you going. Whatever can keep you going is what we want to do. Also, I want to bring up an idea and thought that I haven't brought up. I've had it on like a little board over here with different notes to mention for like 3 or 4 days, but I've never gotten to it. And that is that many of you have multiple books you're thinking about doing. And my advice to you is to put all your best stuff into one book, into that first great book that you're going to get out there. Or if you've already done one and you have a bunch of good stuff, all of it into the second one, whatever it is. And then people are always worried like, oh, I want to have a plan for the second book and the third book and the fourth book. And what I've found over all these years here at Hay House is the more you put into the first book, the better it goes. And there's always going to be ideas for the second, third, and fourth book, because you're going to get reaction from your readers and they're going to go, oh my God, I love what you said in chapter 3. Could you do more on that? Or I love what you said in chapter 6. Can you do more on that? And that's going to be your idea for book number 2. Don't save anything. Put all your best stuff into this book. Put all your best material into this book. Now, for fiction writers, it's a little different. You do have to plan for future books. For nonfiction writers, I want you to put all your best stuff here. For fiction writers, I want you to think about how those characters are going to go to book number 2 and book number 3, because sometimes it takes a while to get fiction going. So it's definitely something to think about on the fiction side. And publishers, or even if you're self-publishing, you want to think about how to carry all that momentum forward that you're creating from the first book with your characters. So
yeah, it's a big one around fiction. And also I love what you're saying about the nonfiction piece, because it's not as that first book needs to be awesome and it needs to really deliver the goods. So that's why I talk about this thing we call the book before the book, because sometimes there's something we're being called to write that's not actually necessarily going to be of service in someone else's life in a big way. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about that, because a lot of you are writing memoir, and I'm getting, there have been questions that have come up about whether or not a memoir, how do you test drive a memoir? How do you make a memoir useful to someone else, right? Other than just to tell your story, but how do you get the word out about it? And the fact is that a memoir can be a great, what I call get to know you book. So it's a book that you can write now because that's what's burning in your heart. That's what you're passionate about. But you don't have to necessarily make it work right now if you have a longer term vision. If what you're wanting to do over the course of time is start teaching people your wisdom, offering it in ways that multiple different people can take it. So for example, some people will never read a book. Other people will listen to an audiobook, but they'll never pick it up in hard copy. Other people will only get their information from YouTube. Other people will want to get it from podcasts. So what the goal is down the line, I want you just to expand your horizons, that if you want to teach people the content and the wisdom that you have, you want to start thinking of it as a career, not just as I'm the author of this one book and this one book has to deliver it to everybody. It doesn't necessarily. And if you're writing a memoir right now, it is not the easiest thing in the world to get the word out about a memoir beyond your local market. That's okay. Down the line, as you start to expand your offerings, as you start to be the embodiment of your wisdom in the world, people will want to read your story. So I talk about, like, there's several different types of memoir that sell really well. The top one is what I call celebrity memoir, but everyone is a celebrity in their own life. Everyone you know is going to want to read your book. So don't ask that question of who would want to read my book. I can tell you, your family, your friends, your colleagues, the people that are in organizations that you're a part of, the people who know you from social media, etc. So that's the starting point for your memoir audience. If what you want is to write a lyrical, inspirational memoir that's a literary memoir that'll just go on its own writing merit. That's possible. It's harder. I would say definitely start thinking about getting into a writer's workshop in your own town. Be taught by literary writers. Go learn from people who've written that kind of book and has gone really, really well. Those are the people that will be able to teach you, if you know, to improve your writing to the place where it is so readable that it's impossible to put it down, right? But if what you're doing is really just getting your story on the page because you need it, your heart needs it, your art needs it, your health needs it, that is a wonderful book for people to eventually find their way back to once you've started offering other things. So just start expanding your horizons a little bit. This one book doesn't have to be everything. It's a great starting place. It's important if that's what life wants you to put out there right now. But I believe each one of you has a depth of wisdom beyond what you know. And once you start the ball rolling, it's like Louise. Did Louise know that she wanted to write 30 books? I don't imagine that she did when she started. She just wanted to get that one little book out there and help people with it. And look at what it became. You never know what your destiny holds. It is a long time, a long life from now. And as Reed said, you might have a decade, you might have 2 decades, you might have 3 or 4 more decades to write books. Just know that if you are surrendering to this desire, it's because life wants it for you and you have no idea where it could take you. So keep an open mind and do what's in front of you right now.
Perfect. I love that. And the other thing some other things I want you to remember that we kind of mentioned throughout the week is think of the niche audience that you're trying to reach. That's super important. Like, think about it. It's just like you saw the winner of this writer's workshop is on bird watching. Like, and that's a niche audience, but you can aim for all the bird watchers or people that thought they might want to do bird watching. And by the way, I learned yesterday that you can even do bird watching on the internet because they have all these cameras out in nature that you can see the birds and things like that. So you could even do it from your desk and you can do it from different things. In fact, I told Lisa, who's the editor of the book, like, I want a chapter in that book, bird watching from your desk. Like, I love that. Like, that's great for promotion and publicity to get people to see. Like, I can see articles all over on it, you know, like just doing that. So, and then all the benefits you get from it. But we've seen that over and over again of those niche audiences really can make a difference. Like some of our like one of our most popular books right now is on moonology and a card deck on moonology, and it's huge. Like it's a niche audience, but it's expanded like crazy. And so there's so many different examples of that niche audience just really being able to help you launch. It helps you identify your ideal reader, which we've talked about over and over. It helps you make your hook so that they're going to want to read it, that you've heard about, all those different kinds of things. So I just wanted to remind you of that as we're going along. Why don't you share the homework with them tonight, Kelly?
Do homework. So what we're hoping for here again is for you to continue the momentum, for you to continue heading toward just the big dream that you have. So in this homework, it's called Take One Big Step. But of course, I'm not just going to let you do one thing. There's a bunch of things on here you need to do. But essentially, the first thing I want you to do is to imagine your future as an author. So this is actually proven science. When we imagine things in our mind, it actually happens in our bodies the way that it would happen if we were doing that thing. For example, exercise. If you imagine yourself exercising, you actually get the exercise benefits. This is true science. You can look it up. And so it's the same when you visualize yourself in the position that you want to be in. So I'm having you actually do that here, to write down what you're going to be feeling, what it's going to mean for you once you're an author. It will help in these invisible ways to create that reality where it is on your map that this is happening. Even though maybe you've been waiting 20 years for it to happen, it is happening now. And then you're going to move into the process of actually choosing a big step. Now, I gave you several different options in here of big steps you might want to take. Of course, the big step we hope you'll take is to join us. We want to continue with you in the membership. That would be a huge step. And many of you have already taken it, which is very, very exciting. But there are other options here. If that doesn't work with your life at the moment, that's totally fine. But of course, I want you to do something that's going to generate future success for you, that's going to keep this momentum going over the course of time. Because as you know, here we are in this container and it's very exciting, but you remember what it was like before where you were sort of like, oh, there's 1,000 better things I could do than work on my book today. I don't want that to happen. Which reminds me one more time, don't forget about your writing plan. I think it was on day 2, was day 2's homework. Again, all the homework will be in the membership, but I'm sure you could find it from a friend here. I actually have it. I adapted it from my book, so it's in the book as well. Basically, just a basic writing plan. I would encourage you to make a time in your calendar each week where you're going to be writing out your writing plan and then putting those dates in your calendar. Don't forget, you don't have to sit down and write your book. Don't tell yourself that that's what has to happen because it's too much for your brain to comprehend. Think of it just as book time. That book time might be spent doing research on the web. It might be spent looking at your own bookshelf to see what kind of books do I want my book sitting next to. It could be talking to a friend about what book they would want in your category that you're writing in. It could be doing more writing prompts from your 100 Moments exercise if you're going to be doing a memoir. So this is just time where you're committing to being an author. Be an author for 15, 20, 30 minutes a day. And then as time goes by and as new information comes in, you will start being able to work on your book in bite-sized chunks. And that's one other thing I'll say. There's nothing so important, in my view, to getting a book written as having a solid outline to work from. Again, we go into this deeply in the membership, but put together an outline, just, go back and brush off those 9th grade English class skills and put together an outline for yourself. It gives you mini homework assignments. If you have 4 or 6 bullet points of what you want to cover in that chapter, you don't have to think about how does the chapter hang together, how is it as a whole, I don't know. You just say, today I'm just writing this one little story, or today I'm just writing this one little exercise. It will change everything for you if you can take off the pressure of I'm writing my book and just say, I'm writing this one little story today.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's answer a few questions. If anyone has a question about the membership or any of the other things that we talked about for the week or anything, we want to make sure you leave here with as many questions answers as we can. So let's see if there's a few questions we can answer, Kelly.
A bunch of people here. So just one thing we've learned some this week. One thing we've learned is that to unmute yourself, you have to wait until I choose you or click on your name. And then apparently you can hit the space bar a couple times or hold it down and that will unmute you. You can also look in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. So let's start with, I don't know who this is, but Palecki. Palecki, you are on.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Perfect. Thank you. So my question actually is regarding to the business and the social media side of things. So I'm working on 2 different kind of style books. One of them is a channeled book where it's star beings that answer questions for people when they're asking them. And then the other one is a how-to book. I'm a spiritual medium as my career. So the book is kind of a how-to book on what people can do themselves in order to connect and communicate with their loved ones. So my question is, right now I have everything in my business under one social media page. So it's all under Angel Messages by Palecki, where I'm working on 2 different ideas. Would it be better to have 2 separate things and build 2 separate groups of following? Or is it okay to have it all together under one?
It's good to have it all together on one, because what you're going to find is you can talk about both topics and there's going to be huge crossover. And it's all about you, like all about you, who you are, what you are. That's the most important thing. So in social media, it's all about you. You can talk about both topics. If you have a website, you could have it divided in tabs, like here's the talking to the past lives, here's the angels, here's, you can have different topics, but
Okay.
you never recommend that you have more than one website or one social media page.
Okay,
I mean, you can
that's
have
perfect.
different ones, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, but all under you.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have that already. So I've got the different ones. Like I've already started the Instagram. I've got my Facebook page. But what I was wondering is where you have to build up the following, and you mentioned yesterday like the different numbers of followers depending on the different topics. So I was wondering if that's why you need like a separate one for the channelings, or you need a different one for the medium work,
No.
or
Like when we're looking at it, or any publisher, they're just going to look, oh, he has X number of people on these platforms, and the engagement that you have is important. Like as you're doing posts, do people share it, or that's really more important than the number. Like you want good engagement of, like when you do an Instagram live, do you get a good response? Do people say they like it? Do they share it? those kind of things. That's the reason why. Like, it's hard enough to build one. You don't need to build a whole bunch of them.
Okay, that's what I was struggling with. So that actually helps me a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Second, and to say, and one more thing that you always say, Reed, that I think is so important for so many people to hear, make sure that all of your different pages are under your name. So don't pick weird URLs that are about your book title or anything like that. We want your name to be at the center of it. Your name seems to be pretty unique, so you probably will be that. But other people out there, I just want to say, like, be sure, this is a question many people I'm sure have. Should my name, my URL be my book title, or should it be my name? It should always be your name. So.
Yeah,
Perfect. Thank you so much.
And if you do multiple books, you just want to keep putting them on that one site. You don't want to have a different site for every book title, a different site for each thing. So you're right on the right path. Good luck.
Okay, so Willetta. We've got Willetta coming on. Unmute yourself, Willetta. Lower left-hand corner of your screen, or you can apparently hold the space bar down. There you are.
Hello.
Howdy.
I didn't know I was raised, but I'm glad I got on. The universe is with me today.
That's
My
right.
book-
You don't
my
know.
My book is channeled. I have worked with Hay House in the past, and then I just got off track. So I'm getting back on. And my book is channeled. I'm an angelologist. I communicate with angels and masters in the universe. And so I have gone back through all my 22 journals and pulled out all the information. And I just want to know, is there a market for this type of book? Should I move on to something else? It has a lot of great information in it. And I put a lot of it out on Facebook, and people keep saying, when is your book coming out? When is your book coming out?
Well, that's a good
So-
sign then. Yes.
It's a good sign. So it's nice. It's time for me to get off the pot now and do what I need to do.
Exactly. If you have all those journals, you need to take it and get going there.
Yes.
Angels seems to be one of those perennial topics that it just, each person who brings it with their own flavor and their own, wisdom. And so it can be, it's okay that there are other books on the bookshelf on that topic. There's an audience that probably wants to hear it from you.
Yep,
Right.
we have two right here that we're just releasing. Angel Guide Oracle, Angel Wisdom Tarot. there's a never-ending need for connecting with the angels. People really
Okay.
find that
Okay.
useful in their lives. So I think you'll find a good audience if you get it written.
Okay. And it's not just angels. I've connected with God and Jesus, and I have a group of entities called the Masters. So I have a lot of great wisdom. The wisdom has actually saved my life on many occasions. So I really want to get it out there to help others.
Yep. Well, I think there's always a need for that. So you're on the right path.
Well, thank you very much.
Take care. Okay, we're moving on to Arlene McGonigal. Arlene, if you want to unmute yourself.
I thought I lowered my hand, but I don't have a question. So you can
Okay,
move on.
no problem. Good luck with your writing.
Thank you.
Totally. Okay. How about Victor? Victor. You're unmuted, Victor, so you should be able to speak. But we can't hear you, unfortunately. Okay, so maybe, we'll come back to you, see if we can get you the next time. How about Michael Arzadon? Hold on. Michael Arzadon. Oh, no. Again, the universe has sent us Jean. Jean, if you Jean Londy, if you want to unmute yourself, we'll get Michael will come up after Victor. Jean, can you unmute yourself? Okay, it doesn't seem to be working. Victor, do you want to try one more time and we'll see if we can get you? You seem to be able to unmute there just for a second.
Are you listening to me?
Oh,
It's a little wobbly. It's a little, sounds like you've got maybe two different versions open in your same room. That's what that sound usually means. We'll see if you want to figure that out. We're going to come back to Michael Arzadon. Michael, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you so much.
Sure.
right.
The last 5 days, I only missed one day, but anyway, my question is, how do you know when to, because the book that I'm planning to write has so many facets of my life, and it consists of, you know, moving from one continent to another, moving from the sciences to the arts, being healthy, and then having, you know, uh, a health issue. So I guess my question is, do I put them all? Because you just mentioned that just bring everything, all that you want, your best, and then, you know, pour it all in. So I'm just wondering if, yeah, because it seems like it's a jumble of so many things in my head.
So I'll say thank you for very short that have the same question. So you know what, Michael? Can you? For some reason, we're getting some back sound while I speak. Can you just mute yourself? Thank you. So essentially, a lot of us have many different things that have happened in our lives that seem really important and really useful. So the questions to ask yourself when you're looking at your memoir to see what you're going to include would be, what is the theme or the main learning I want to convey to my reader? So thinking about your reader again, what do they need to know about your life? And starting from that point, rather than how do I include every single important thing that happened to me? So we did say include all the good stuff. That's usually because sometimes people are like, well, I'm not going to include the stuff about parenting. I'm going to do a whole different parenting book, or I'm not going to include the stuff about love. I'm going to do a relationships book someday. And what Reed is saying is, let's put it all in that first book, more for the prescriptive than for the memoir. When it comes to memoir, one more time, you have to carve out a pathway that makes sense and is really engaging for the reader. So asking yourself, what have been the themes that I've learned about over the course of my life? What are the things that tie these stories together? And then mapping yourself a narrative arc through those asking yourself those questions. And again, I like the idea of choosing a mothership, as I say, so choosing one of those events that happened, and then you can actually bring in through a flashback and other, ways of dialogue, things like that, other events that have happened to you. They don't have to be part of this narrative arc. The narrative arc can really be about one event, and we hear about these other events through the process of really understanding that one event that you're highlighting. So looking at the themes and then looking at what would be the sort of mothership, the most interesting, most hooky of the topics, of the things that happen to you. And then from there, you can incorporate everything through different narrative structure like that, or flashback. Does that make sense? You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're getting some good questions here on the last day. Okay, moving on to, let's try Debbie Morrill. Debbie Morrill. You're on, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me? Thank you. It has been profoundly inspirational. I have two questions. I'll try to make them short. The first one, if you are already a member, are you always a member?
Well, you're a member. The writers community, you pay like each month, or you can get an annual membership. So that's how it works. So it depends on how you approach it.
I think I signed up for the annual membership back in the fall.
Yeah, then you're still a member. You'll be a member at least until February, because that's when we started it. So it'll go
great.
at least for a year. So you're going to get, like, since you're already a member, like, hopefully we'll talk to you tomorrow if you want to learn about book proposals. You'll get this whole challenge will be in the membership. So it'll all be there, and you'll get to keep using it. So hopefully this motivated you to move right through that membership.
Great, thank you. Can I share what I don't know would be a hook? It's quite short, and it is personal. I'm going to try to get through this.
Go for it.
No, don't. The stranger screamed from below. I closed my eyes, held my breath, and jumped from a 5-story parking garage. Then my screams of help drowned hers.
Well, that's a very, very profound moment. And I'm moved that you would share it here. And I would say that it probably is the centerpiece of a very powerful story. I wouldn't say that that's the hook. That's more of an opening scene. But the hook could be after I jumped from a 5-story parking garage, I XYZ. So what happened from that point on, or what led you to that point, and then how did you come to the place of how did you survive and how did you come to this place? So that's sort of more the hook of the story is, what led me to make that leap and what brought me back.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Okay. So how about Nora Crone? Nora. Oh, you know what? It did it again. Claudia just jumped on. Claudia, God has picked you. Nora will get you next.
Claudia.
Claudia.
Well, hi. Oh, God, I'm so happy that you called on me. Thank you both. I was definitely at absolute block, and I have been to every class, every assignment, and I just thank you both so, so much. Now, I have a couple quick questions. Number one, I have books and books of poetry, and I'm writing a book that I've been writing for about 13 years. Don't laugh. And one of my friends said, well, why don't you just take your poetry and put that into a book? I felt like that was not as, it wouldn't have as much of an audience, and I just wanted to throw it out to see what you both thought.
Well, it definitely, poetry is probably the hardest thing to sell as a book, but it's not to say you shouldn't put your poetry in a book and self-publish it. It would be very difficult to find a publisher in most cases for it until you self-publish it. And then if there's interest, you could find a publisher. But poetry is one of the best things to self-publish, in my opinion. But it definitely, if you have great poems and you want to get them out there, you could self-publish that and work on your other book as well. So that would be my recommendation.
Excellent. Thank you. And then, go ahead.
Is that there is one place where poetry is working right now in a pretty big way, which is on social media. So if you have a passion for poetry and you would like to get the word out, and even just to start gathering an audience for whatever the book is that you decide to put out there, posting poems with photos on Facebook and Instagram especially, I would say, although I'm sure that we work on Pinterest and other places as well. That is just, some people have caught a lot of traction. So if you have poems that people really love to read, they will start passing them around, they'll start engaging with them. So that's one thing you could do sort of simultaneous to working on any other book.
Excellent. And then the book I am writing is fiction. Now I want to, of course, after this, I want to write a novel too. But the first book is fiction. Now, would the membership be applicable to a fiction writer as much as a nonfiction?
Reed?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's all about writing, so it doesn't matter what you're writing to get the book written. We talk about fiction. We do publish fiction here at Hay House, even have one right here of our fiction books. This one is The Fifth Rule of 10. It's a whole series. It's actually a mystery series. We have other fiction books. So we definitely mention fiction always, like we kind of did throughout this 7 days. We talk about fiction, what's different. Most of the things are the same. There's a few differences, and we always bring those up.
Oh,
we talk about, for example, outlines, etc. We always have an outline for fiction as well as for nonfiction. So yes, it's really the container that holds you in the writing process is the same regardless of what kind of book you're writing. And that's what we're trying to create with the membership.
Yeah.
excellent. Because I'm going to sign up then, but I just wanted to make sure about that. And then I know that, Kelly, one day you said that you should go to an editor early on, like you don't have to wait till your book is finished.
Absolutely do not have to wait. Now, the shoulds, obviously it's up to you. Everybody has their own path, but certainly if you feel called to get feedback and even guidance on what the hook should be, what the outline, what, you know, how your first chapters are working or not working, what you could be doing better now so that you don't have to do an overhaul once the book is written. There are editors that would love to help you. We know how to shape things from the beginning, and the sooner you work with an editor, the less work you'll have to do down the line, right? Because we'll get you on track. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you both. I don't want to take all your time because I know people have a lot of questions, but I'm so glad you called on me.
We are too. Well, we look forward to see you in the membership.
Indeed. Okay, we're going to go back to Nora now. Nora Crone. Nora.
So excited. I'm like jumping up and down. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have a question about structure. I am a classical musician, and a few years ago, actually with the encouragement of an agent who found me via my blog and a few others in the industry, I completed a draft of a memoir about overcoming stage fright. And I was actually in the process of submitting said memoir to agents when I was felled with a playing-related neurological condition that has actually ended the careers of many musicians. But I'm almost recovered, actually. And my question is, has the timeline for that memoir just shifted with this injury now sort of being at this ordeal that happens at the midpoint of the hero's journey? Or would it be more saleable to write something with the injury really front and center with flashbacks to prior material?
You know, that is a difficult question to answer without reading the book, because it really comes down to how good is the memoir about stage fright. Is it good enough that, I mean, I think that the options would be that you could publish the one about stage fright now, and then you publish the one about your injury and your recovery later. So I always talk about one of my favorite memoirists is Dani Shapiro. Her name's spelled D-A-N-I. And she has written 4 or 5 memoirs about different eras in her life, different incidents that have happened to her. It's pretty crazy how something keeps coming up. Like most recently, she wrote a book called Inheritance about after her parents had passed, she discovered that her father was not her biological father. And so she went on this journey of trying to figure out what happened and how did it happen. But that was after writing one about her son's illness and writing one about her own marriage and writing one about her time in college. And just so you can write about different eras in your life. And it sounds like if you have an agent interested in your memoir, you must be a great writer. I'll just say that flat out. And so it sounds like you're somebody who it would be a potential that you might write multiple memoirs. So I would start with the one that you've already got in place. Have you gone out on submission with it or no?
I have. I mean, basically, thank you for all that information, first of all. What happened was this agent was actually at a pretty prominent agency, and it sort of like caught me out of the blue. And so I wrote this whole book, and then he turned out to be really flaky. So I sort of left with this whole draft, and then was like, okay, now I'm back to square one with submissions. And I got a little bit of promising feedback, but no takers. I didn't submit to more than probably 15 people. So yeah, and then I guess my question when I got the injury was like, okay, is this the universe telling me that this is another sort of really dramatic missing element that's needed to make this stand out in probably what is actually a sea of memoirs written by, artists and their struggles, essentially.
I would say you could keep submitting, because there are plenty of agents in the sea, and oftentimes it takes 25, 35, 50 agent submissions to find the one who falls in love with your book. When it comes to memoir or fiction, it is incredibly important to find someone who's passionate about the book itself. So you only need one. And once you have that one, they can light the fire of passion with the publishers. So I would say, why not continue submitting, but also why not sketch out an outline for a different version where you would combine those 2 stories together and see if you feel impassioned about that. And then one other thing I'll say, just to, screw everything up for you, is that I think a book about how to overcome stage fright would actually, be something that could sell, because so many people have it. It's just a huge market of people who don't like to speak in front of crowds. So that's another possibility, using your story, but also speaking directly to the reader about how they can implement the lessons you learned on your journey in their own life and be able to overcome. So there's multiple different places you could go. I would say, why not, just play with some of the ideas and continue submitting and see what happens.
Okay, thank you so much.
And we look forward to all of you who join the membership. to seeing your book proposals. I'm hoping to tell stories about you at one of these future webinars of how you were accepted the $10,000 advance and became a Hay House author. And I hope you all continue writing. I hope you all get your books done. I hope you all find that passion and really get going. So thank you for coming for the last 7 days, for all that you have, or any days that you did. So thank you very much.